Alright everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and I'm coming to you today with a story that is just as predictable as the characters that Kim Belair writes, and that is Reflector Entertainment, the company that gave us Unknown 9 Awakening, a Sweet Baby Inc. video game that failed miserably, is forced to reorganize. Let's cue up the music and we'll talk about it. Alright, so it looks like Sweet Baby Inc. client Reflector Entertainment is forced to reorganize and admits failure to Kim Belair's Unknown 9 Awakening and that it hurt the studio. Reflector Entertainment, the developer and major Sweet Baby Inc. client behind the much maligned Unknown 9 Awakening, has officially conceded defeat. The game's catastrophic failure has directly forced the studio to cancel future projects, lay off staff, and adopt a single project strategy moving forward. Ouch. This has been a thing that has happened to pretty much everything that Kim Belair has touched in the last couple of years. Now, we've seen tens of thousands of people get laid off in this industry over the last couple of years. So this was a lot bigger than just Kim Belair alone. But you cannot deny the fact that everything she touches turns to garbage. You know, she is the opposite of King Midas when it comes to video games. And it's terrible. She's a cancer in this industry, and anyone who works with her from now moving forward with seeing all of this out there, well, shame on them, and they deserve whatever happens to their studio. You know, they deserve to fail because she destroys everything she touches. Whether or not she is directly responsible for the complete failure of a game, she definitely contributes to it, and that's a fact. You cannot deny it. You cannot have a track record as bad as hers and say that she does anything other than contribute to the failure of it. You know, she's made nothing better. Every character that she writes is herself injected into a game. It's pathetic. It's absolute garbage. Anyway, the announcement came from Herv Hort, CEO of Reflector Entertainment and CCO of Bandai Namco Entertainment Europe, who acknowledged that the game's disastrous reception and its inability to meet expectations despite significant investments. The decision correlates directly with the failure of the studio's ambitious and courageous first project, a new IP with a rich transmedia universe, he said. The performance of the release didn't come near the company expectations after numerous timeline adjustments and investments, both financially and other, and didn't warrant any further exploration in this universe. So this might mean, to back it up a second here, Unknown 9 Awakening was supposed to be part of this monstrous project, I believe, that involved books. Like they say, transmedia. It involved books. I think it involved animated series, video games. What else was it? Maybe there's an animated movie. I don't remember exactly. TV series. But all these different things that all touched on the same universe. And it was supposed to be big, right? I think they were going for, that quote-unquote Star Wars vibe. Kind of like Sony did with Concord, which equally failed. I'm starting to sense something here. People are getting overly ambitious with stuff like this. When George Lucas created Star Wars, he did not look to create Star Wars, a universe. He wanted to create a movie, and it was part 4 of 9, whatever. But he wasn't looking to create this universe that exists today. In fact, he would have probably been, if it had been left in his hands, he would have probably been done after the 9 films. He would have done all this spin-off garbage and all that's happened and just made the series or made the universe worse for everything. So I think these guys are just getting so ambitious and all that they're focusing too much on the big picture instead of giving you a good game. Like if they would have given us a good game, a good foundation to build on, well, that's a different story. Then you can take that and say, okay, Unknown 9 Awakening was successful. Let's build a sequel on it, or let's get somebody to write some cool fictional novel based off of a side character from there, or a prequel to it, or a comic book, or whatever, and slowly build off of it instead of, sitting in a room full of idiots and brainstorming this huge universe with all this transmedia stuff, and then, all right, here we go. Now let's hire Kim Belair and put out this video game, and womp, womp, womp. It fails miserably, and now you all look, you got egg on your face. What a bunch of morons. I swear to God. Anyway, released in October 2024, Unknown Nine Awakening aimed to launch a transmedia universe with games, area books, and other media. Instead, the game earned a dismal 59 Metacritic score. Oof, and a 1.7 user score, sinking any hope of establishing any kind of Unknown Nine story world. Unknown indeed. Critics cited lackluster gameplay and an overly ambitious narrative that failed to resonate with audiences. And if you notice, the protagonist, of course, is a female woman of color, and all the bad guys that she's fighting there are white men. Thanks, Kim Belair. You just are so predictable. Anyway, adding fuel to the fire is the involvement of Sweet Baby Inc., headed by CEO Kim Belair, as a consultancy for the project. Belair's role as story architect has come under scrutiny due to her studio's growing reputation for contributing to projects that fail to deliver commercially or critically. Initially pitched as an expansive universe filled with supernatural intrigue, Unknown Nine Awakening instead alienated players with its convoluted lore and lack of compelling gameplay. This wasn't a game designed to capture hearts, it was a product built on lofty ideals that lacked audience engagement. The fallout from the game's failure has been severe. Reflector Entertainment has canceled its next project, laid off additional staff, and scaled back its ambitions. While affected employees will receive severance and benefits, their reputational damage to the studio and its parent company, Bandai Namco, is severe. Bandai's been around for a long time. They'll be fine. Reflector, they're only as good as the next thing they put out, so we'll have to see what that is. If they continue to put out garbage, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I've talked about this before. These consultancy firms, they have no dog in the fight, right? They come in, they do what they're hired to do, they get paid, and they leave. And then they walk away from the project. It doesn't matter if it wins or loses. They've made their money and they go. There's no accountability for them. So, that's what sucks. That's what really sucks. I think it's a bad way to do business in this industry, is to hire people like that, because what if they have nothing to lose, right? Nothing to lose. And if they continue to fail and screw up and all that, all they got to do is close up shop and start a new company and do it over again. It just seems like studios are dumb, and they'll hire people like this. I don't know why. Anyway, critics argue that Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement is emblematic of troubling trend in gaming. Rather than focusing on creating engaging experiences, projects influenced by Sweet Baby Inc. often prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives. The repeated failures of games like Unknown Nine and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League suggest that DEI-driven narratives are not resonating with players, especially when executed at the expense of gameplay quality. Reflector's decision to entrust Sweet Baby Inc. with such a crucial role in the project's development raised questions about the industry's priorities. And they're not alone in this troubling trend. Despite fallout from SBI failures impacting a variety of studios, YouTuber Master of the TDS reported, based on information from an inside source, that SBI had lost no contract as a result of its actions. What's more, the studio reportedly has more than 30 games in active development. This begs the question, how many more high-profile failures must occur before studios reconsider their reliance on consultancy firms with questionable track records? Well, there's 30 that are going to fail right there. I'll tell you that right now. As soon as the word gets out on those games, they're dead in the water. Absolutely dead in the water. And if you look at like these games that Kim Belair gets involved in, the main character, or the character that she creates or whatever, is always the same. It's always a female woman of color. It's a self-insertion. She has no talent, right? She can only write herself. She can't create characters that aren't extensions of her own self, because she has zero talent, zero vision. She's a hack. And it shows. And that's why everything she touches sucks, because she sucks. Anyway, Bandai Namco has stated its commitment to creating Western content for global audiences, but the failure of Unknown Nine Awakening should serve as a cautionary tale. Players crave meaningful stories and gameplay, not shallow attempts to tick ideological checkboxes. The collapse of Reflector Entertainment's ambitions serves as yet another example of the risks associated with prioritizing ideology over player experience. If the games industry hopes to regain trust and deliver the kind of games that resonate with audiences, it may be time to leave failed consultants like Sweet Baby Inc. in the past. Definitely. Anyway, here's a dumb question. Did you play Unknown Nine Awakening? I'm going to guess the answer is no. Yeah. Did Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement push you away, or did you just not hear of it? I mean, I heard of Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement in it. I saw the trailer for it. It didn't look good. It looked, kind of cheesy. The character design was just that man-faced, uglified female, ambiguous person of color that just is so... It's such a thing right now. It's a trope right now that it's like, oh, here we go again. It's the female girl boss, person of color, probably a lesbian, yawn. It's the same old crap over and over again. And quite frankly, I'm bored of that trope. So yeah, I had zero interest in it, whatsoever. But, beyond the DEI thing on here, I think these companies are trying to build, instead of trying to make a good game with Unknown Nine Awakening, I think also Bandai was trying to build this behemoth, this universe, and that was another huge mistake, and that was another big contributing factor to the failure of this, to take it beyond the DEI, which wasn't the only reason it failed. You can't create something that large right off the bat. You've got to build a foundation, like I said, George Lucas, he built Star Wars and built from there. Gene Roddenberry had a pilot episode of Star Trek before we have this whole Star Trek universe that spans, God knows how many films and TV series and episodes and all that, and novels and comic books and everything else. Gene Roddenberry didn't set out to create a whole universe of that. He had one episode, a pilot. Didn't even have Captain Kirk in it. It had Pike, So, start small, create something good, and build upon that. That's how you succeed. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. As always, we'll catch the beefy with the Game Vault. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.